Welcome to Tales from the Streets. Here's what our narrator has to say. My daughter is 15 years old, and she's the best thing that ever happened to me. She's the only child I have, and that is why I have kept her story hidden. But now I can talk since we're all sharing, and sure that our identities will be kept secret. I was barren for more than 12 years after my marriage. I wasn't even the type of woman who got pregnant and then lost it. For me, nothing happened. No missed periods, no feeling of being pregnant, nothing. My husband then was like many men, running from skirt to skirt. He told me he had 2 children before he met me, and the only reason I wasn't kicked out of the house was because he met me a virgin. I endured all kinds of humiliation. Haba, I don't need to go into specific details. You know how our people treat barren women. You can't send your neighbor's child on an errand. They will tell you to go and have your own children. So you can't send them. You can't scold an errand child in the family. Or you'll be told that's the reason why you don't have your own. You are expected to give people the exact amount of money they come asking for. After all, you're not spending money on baby food or school fees. So when you say you have no money, you are an enemy for life. So that was my situation. I was working in advertising in Lagos, making good money, but very unhappy, especially with a philandering husband. I went from hospital to hospital, from one prayer mountain to another. I did even a few herbalists. Yeah, I took herbs, concoctions, holy water, bathed in the river, and threw the sponge away. I did it all. Nothing happened for 12 years. It didn't help when my husband's children would come to the house demanding for money. And many times, the loafer will borrow money from me to give to them and never repay. How will I be able to get the money back when fear didn't let me ask? I did once though, and not only did I get the tongue lashing of my life, he called a family meeting to tell them I didn't want him to give his children money, even when I couldn't have any. After that, if he asked for money, I would give what I had and never ask for it again. Then one day, a friend invited me to a new church. She told me the pastor was a great man of God who was doing wonders. She said he would pray for me and I will have children. She said there were many barren women who were joyous mothers of plenty. That's how I met Pastor Ken. He was in his late 30s at that time, but he is no charismatic leader. Pastor Ken was a sex pervert, and his method was simple. I was to come for 5 days vigil. I was to sleep in the church where I would fast and pray, and God will do it. God will do it in quote. God had nothing to do with nothing. On the second night, Pastor Ken took me into his room and we had vigorous sex for 4 days. He would be on top of me and be shouting, "Receive! Receive! Receive! Infilling of the Holy Spirit, receive!" For hours. The man had stamina. You're laughing. Was I under a godly illusion? Of course not. Look, at that time, I would have opened my legs from Cairo to Congo just to have a child. I didn't care who fathered the child. I just wanted the child to call me mommy. I wanted to be called Mama somebody. And let's face it, it had been long since I was badged like that, especially with my husband chasing women all over town. Pastor Ken did not just have stamina, he had a good member. And I was not the only woman. So, I don't need to sugarcoat it. That is why I call Pastor a sex pervert. See, there were 3 other women there. We all knew Pastor was having sex with each of us. But you see, we had been shamed by society over and over again for being barren. So if this man could get us pregnant, it was a small price to pay for silence. So, we will be there praying. Then once we hear, "Receive! Receive! Take it!" we knew one of us was getting specially anointed by Pastor Ken. Oh, we all knew. Then I became pregnant. But while everyone was thanking God and screaming God of miracle, I knew this was no miracle. I knew mine wasn't a holy child. So I just kept asking God for forgiveness because I didn't know what else to do. I continued worshiping at the church, but stopped going for vigil. I gave birth to a beautiful baby girl in the UK, and I was over the moon with joy. Then one night, my husband started his wahala. He said he couldn't be the father of my child. He told me he knew that he could never father a child and that I should leave his house with my bastard. I said, Husai. So it means all those children you've been parading in front of me all these years as yours are not yours? It means you will pay me back all the money I have been lending you for the upkeep of the so-called children. It means I will have no choice but tell the world that you are not a man. The man calmed down sharply. You see, for men, their manhood is the center of their universe. My husband couldn't afford to be shamed because at that time, after several years of being humiliated by him, I was finally a mother, financially able to care for myself and my child. And him being in our lives would have been a small bonus, not necessarily an important thing. At this point, as a UK citizen, I was already prepared to relocate to the UK to raise my child. When I brought it up, my husband followed me like a sheep, and he kept his gob shut until he passed away from cancer 6 years ago. So when they say my daughter is a miracle, like I have overcome some barrenness, no, she's a product of a sperm donor named Pastor Ken, who probably still lives in Lagos. If you enjoyed this story, please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.